On November 24th, I was on patrol. I'm the night shift patrol sergeant, and Officer Lindstedt, who's one of the patrol officers that I work with, got on the radio and said that he just pulled up on a house fire.
I was driving back to our police station to swap out my batteries and grab something to drink, and another officer came over the radio and said that there was a fire. So I quick started making my way over. By the time I got there, I could see the whole front of the building engulfed in flames.
When I arrived, I went over to the side. At the time, I didn't know there was an apartment on the second floor, so I went to the front of the business. I saw nobody was there, and Officer Lindstedt informed me that there is an apartment on the second floor. There was one way up to this apartment. There was one staircase to get in and one staircase to get out.
You said there's traps?
And as I started, I could see the fire, and it was spreading. It was spreading quickly.
I had seen him at the bottom of the staircase previously, and by the time I pulled out the fire extinguisher and closed the trunk, he was gone. I was like, oh, well, he just went inside.
I started up the stairs, and an elderly gentleman greeted me at the door. I informed him that his house was on fire and asked him if there was anybody else inside. And he told me his wife, who was in the back bedroom. So as I entered the apartment, he walked in through the kitchen, and then there was a living room and a long hallway going back to the back bedroom. And as I started in the house, I knew I had time. I just didn't know how much time I had. I remember very distinctly, it was actually kind of eerie, the smoke coming up through the carpet, and it actually looked like a snake, and the apartment was starting to fill with smoke. So I went to the back bedroom, and the door was closed, so I opened the door and was calling out, and I heard the elderly woman in the back say she's in there. So when I opened the door, she was sitting on her bed.
So I ended up making my way to the back of the room where her bedroom was, and Sergeant Hillis was already in there trying to get her up out of bed, and she was confused because it was the middle of the night. She was an older lady. She probably didn't know what was going on.
And I informed her that her house was on fire and we need to go.
So we ended up getting her up, and we escorted her to the front steps. Just kind of seeing the orange glow of the fire.
I just remember being very hot.
From the time I hit the top of the staircase with the older lady, the fire had spread to majority of the front porch and the second story. I could see when I walked out the flames rolling around the corner, hitting the sides of the staircase. So she was very hesitant on going down the staircase.
When we were going down, she was walking. She was in shock, not really knowing what was going on.
I just remember standing in front of her, trying to help her down the staircase, and she kept stopping on the staircase, and my sergeant ended up picking her up and just dragging her down as the flames rolling over my neck. I didn't really know how close the flames were to catching us, if you will, until I saw his body cam footage of them just rolling past the three of us as we were making our way down the staircase. By the time we got down to the bottom, the first fire truck had pulled up. You know, it's just one of those things where we were in the right area at the right time, and we were able to get them out.
From the time we got there until we got them out was probably 2 minutes total, and that fire probably more than quadrupled its size. Another 30 seconds to a minute, they would have been rescuing us too. I've done a lot of stuff in my career over 25 years, and that's the first time. I've been on plenty of fires, but I never went inside.
That night, I sat down with the fire chief and the captain and everybody that was there, and they were like, if you and Officer Lindstedt and Sergeant Hillis weren't there, there's a good chance they probably would have died. And that was something that kind of stuck with me.
After everything was over, then I thought about it a little bit, going inside the house without fire gear on, without oxygen. The apartment was filling with smoke. I knew afterwards that was probably a little risky.